Going on here? And I have to clean up afterwards.
You will die in this place.
So that was a clip from the latest episode of House of the Dragon. And honestly, that was one of the best parts of the whole episode for me, was this whole thing with Damon and Harrenhal, which, I'm kind of glad they're giving us more of that than what we got in the book, because this was like really the highlighted episode. There's a lot of foreshadowing here. That girl that said he's going to die there at Harrenhal, very, very creepy. She's, I think, related to Bloodraven. I think she's an ancestor or something like that, if you remember the three-eyed crow. So that's very crazy. And yeah, like Harrenhal, like we never really got to explain enough in the original series Harrenhal's curse. And there's a lot of fun theories about Harrenhal's curse. And I'm sure this episode's going to build on more of the lore, and maybe we're going to get more Harrenhal theory videos from different YouTubers. But I've heard different theories like the weirwoods that make that tree over there at Harrenhal basically haunt the place because the trees, they have all these different spirits. And then apparently there was other trees that were cut down to build the building, and that you're not supposed to cut down the trees, so that led to the building being haunted. Of course, there's always Lord Harren, who was burned by Aegon the Conqueror and his whole family, that led to the place being haunted. There's a lot of fun, interesting theories on how Harrenhal became haunted, but we get to see Damon just go on this whole like crazy acid trip this episode, where he's just tripping. He's tripping. He comes to Harrenhal at the beginning of the episode, and he shows up with the Bloodworm, which is like one of my favorite dragons. And there's some guys that down there, I love it. They're like, dragon, dragon. And you'd think that the biggest castle in Westeros, there'd be like a bunch of dudes manning it, but like there's like one guy inside. And after these guys run, they don't even like alert the guy. So like Daemon just knocks them out. And I just love the scene with the rain. I love dark, rainy scenes. Just like, and you hear the raindrops out, it's just like perfect ASMR. And he just like knocks this dude out. I love it. He knocks the guy out. Boom, boom. And he goes in there and they just surrender. And, these are the guys that currently lord over the place. And, Daemon doesn't trust them. He doesn't want to eat their food. But, he eventually, is really chill with them. And you notice the girl that said he's going to die, she's right here in this scene as well, earlier in the episode. Which, again, she's a very mysterious character. Apparently she's, up there with the Clubfoot as one of the most magical characters in this time period of A Song of Ice and Fire. But besides that, this episode, we really, if you just go to the politics and the battles, we didn't really get any major battles this episode. I think, this was honestly the least action-packed episode of the three so far, but I think next week is really going to make up for it. We started off the episode, we got to see the Brackens, and I forgot the other one, where the other family, where they're like having this dispute, the teenage boys, and turns into this big battle, and you see all the bodies laid out on the ground. Oh, the Blackwoods. And it's behind this windmill, which is why the episode has a mill. I think it's like the broken mill or whatever it's called, the title of the episode. And it would have been really cool to see that battle, but I guess it wasn't in the budget, or they just they want to save the budget for the next episode with the dragons. They want to only main character battles. But it would have been cool to see those two families go at it, because we saw them kind of go at it a little bit in the first season. But besides that, we had well, man, isn't that a great shot? Daemon near the tree. Oh, that's great. Oh yeah, we had a scene at the brothel where Aegon goes to the brothel and he exposes Aemon. I don't even know if knew he was gonna be there, but like he exposes him with the madam and embarrasses him. It's like, bro, he's like your best guy. Like he's your brother and he's your best guy. You're gonna expose your bro like that? You're gonna do him dirty like that? Like what if he, I'm not gonna say he's gonna switch teams, but he may go half-assed now in the war. You did this to him, or he might kill you and try to take your throne. Like what are you doing? And Aemon walks right out, with his Johnson out. So the fangirls, they got more action. They got to see more of Aemon this week. And honestly, when he stands up, he looks more buff than when he was like all cradle last week in the last episode. So, did the actor a little bit more justice this week. And but honestly, there's just way too many Johnsons in that scene. If you're into that, that's fine. But as a straight guy, it was like a little too much, and yeah, they really wanted to, I guess, go back to old Game of Thrones with all the dicks and everything and some booba, but not enough booba in my opinion, that scene. So then, they're getting drunk, yada yada, and there's some drunk guys. There's one drunk guy who claims to be like long lost brother of Daemon and Viserys, and he declares for Rhaenyra. But then Aegon walks in, and he's like, "Oh, Aegon!" Before they go to the whorehouse or whatever. But besides that, the big talk of this episode is this, and honestly, I think this is the biggest flop in House of the Dragon, arguably so far. Besides Rhaenys not burning the greens, that added scene. This is another added scene, not from the books like the Rhaenys one, which was also a Rhaenys idea. This scene where Rhaenys tells Rhaenyra, "Hey, maybe we can avoid the war if you go over and meet Alicent. Like you sneak in to where she prays at the Sept and." Talk to her. Maybe she still has a lot of power. And she actually agrees with Rhaenys on this, which honestly, this is as dumb as like Kristen Cole's plan, which Kristen Cole, he does some dumb stuff this episode as well. He almost gets killed by some dragons, but that's a whole nother thing. Get into that at the end a little bit. But basically, everybody's talking about this. Rhaenyra somehow makes her way all the way to King's Landing, sneaks into the Sept, dressed as a nun. Nobody recognizes her face, even though she's like the second or the most popular person in all of Westeros at this point. Doesn't really make a lot of sense. And you would think after, the heir to be was beheaded that they would have better security, but, somehow she sneaks in here and she confronts Alicent. They have a whole back and forth about Viserys' last words. She explains to Alicent that, no, you were wrong about what he said on his deathbed. He was talking about the story of the prince that was promised, which we all know that the whole legend was nonsense anyway. But she basically explains to Alicent he wasn't talking about that Aegon. He was talking about Aegon the Conqueror. Okay, he wasn't talking about your son, my brother Aegon. And Alicent understands for a second, but then she's like, no, you're wrong, and she just walks off defiantly. And for some reason, doesn't tell the guards that hey, Rhaenyra's right here, the usurper, like. Go kill her, go, arrest her or something like that. Like, I understand at the beginning when Rhaenyra was holding the knife to her, but once she walks away, just, go get the security, do something, end the war. Like, Alicent is almost as negligent for not ending this war as Rhaenys was for not burning her in the last season. Like, this scene doesn't really make any sense. And then, of course, we don't even know how Rhaenyra got out of here. It's so unprobable. This scene and this whole idea, this whole plan was honestly, I think, maybe even dumber than Cole's plan from last week of sending Sir Eric to kill Rhaenyra. Like, this is so ridiculous. Which, speaking of Sir Cole, he meets with Alicent's brother, who's like this pompous sex pack guy and wants to go brothels and stuff like that. And they go out, they head out for war, which is like, dude, you're the hand of the king. Why are you going out to go fight a war? Like, what are you doing? And like, what happens if you die, dude? What happens if you die, bro? I guess, no hand of the king, or somebody else gets pointed hand of the king. Alicent will be hand of the king. I don't know. But, Cole, he's gone. He went out to go fight the war, totally, neglecting his job as hand of the king. Almost got killed by some dragons. We got one of the daughters of Daemon that he had with his previous wife. Almost freaking, well, she could have fried him, but she decided not to. She decided to just do some scouting, go back and tell Rhaenyra. And that was pretty much it. That was pretty much all the action of the episode, was just getting to see, a little bit of dragons flying around, Daemon with the whole Harrenhal thing, which, like I said, the Daemon with the Harrenhal thing was the most interesting, because Harrenhal, it's just a very interesting place. And, you know, you got the children of the forest, you got the weirwoods. A lot of the magical elements of Game of Thrones is centered in this place. It's a very important part strategically in terms of the non-magical stuff with the politics, which is why Daemon came to claim it. And it was just funny how he was able to just walk in and claim it. Nobody really fought him. But then, you know, the girl telling him he's going to die, that's pretty creepy, which could be some foreshadowing. So we'll see about that. But yeah, just want to do a quick review here. This episode was honestly the most mid so far. The other two were great. This one I would say is 7 out of 10. Like I said, the Harrenhal part was honestly the most interesting part. The other parts were not so good, and the end was kind of this, I don't know how to describe it. It was a flop, okay? You know, it doesn't make any sense, the ending. It almost didn't feel real. But yeah, just want to do a quick review here. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to follow. It is greatly appreciated. And wherever you are, have a fantastic day. And next week, get ready because it's going to be a real action-packed episode, one of the biggest battle scenes in Game of Thrones. So get ready for that. But yeah, wherever you are, have a fantastic day, and peace out.